Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is James and I run Freddie Fletcher Limited, a same-day courier company in the UK. And we can also now go over to Northern Ireland. Woohoo! Today this is going to be in two parts. One that I've already filmed, and then I wanted to add another section for what's happened today. Let's lead with that. So today what happened? Well, I had a driver doing a site clearance down London way, and it turned out there was far too much kit, too heavy for his van. We needed a second driver. I put it in the old WhatsApp group and no one was available. Obviously, it's the middle of the day, people have got jobs, so the lads that are in the WhatsApp group from London area and not in London area, I had to put it on the old courier exchange. I was actually out with wifey for the majority of today. Well, we've been looking for some stock for her enterprise, and I've been I did all my laptop work this morning. It's a bit of a quieter day. I put it on the CX room, my phone, which you can do. And when the quotes came in, I was driving, wifey had a look, and we have this little thing where whenever wifey picks someone, and then if I book them, it tends to not be the best choice. So we jokingly said, I jokingly said to her, who would you pick? She went, oh, don't pick who I pick because it's never a good one. So I said, exactly. Joking, obviously. But she picked one, I picked another. We phoned my guy while wifey ran into a shop. And well, yeah, didn't go to plan. So chose the wrong one. And mine was the more expensive one as well, not even the cheaper one. So I phoned, got hold of somebody else who's in an office, and they said, yeah, he's 35 minutes away. I said, perfect, I'll send the job over now. It's urgent, the driver's sat there waiting for him. I don't want to be paying loads of waiting time. Just get there as quick as you can. No worries. Obviously, I was out and about, we were doing other things. He told me it was going to be there in half an hour. My driver that was on site, well, he messaged me about 45 minutes later, still no sign. So I thought, I better check the tracker. He'd only said he was on his way to pick up 10 minutes ago, and I thought, oh God. And he was on the tracker, and he was miles away, and I thought, oh no. Either this is a syndicate, and the driver that I'm using isn't on the tracker, and there's just another driver in London, or the other guy's in London, or that is the driver, and he's going to be ages. So I phoned the number that you phoned to book the job, and he said, oh yeah, sorry, my driver tried phoning you. I said, okay. I don't think I missed any calls, but I'll check. And I had. I'd missed a little one bill. But, oh yeah, he's about 20 minutes away now. He's been stuck behind an accident. So I went, okay, 20 minutes away. It's going to be a bit late, but okay, that should be fine. And I thought, 20 minutes passed. I checked his tracker, and the van hadn't moved. It was still miles away. So I thought, that number that phoned me the missed call, who's the driver, I'll just phone him and see where he was. He said he was half an hour away. So I was like, oh Christ. So I let the driver on site know it wasn't going too great finding a good driver, and well, yeah, I chose a bit of a donkey. Eventually, the driver did arrive on site, but that was 2.5 hours late. Which then meant I had 3 hours of waiting time to pay to the original driver. 4 hours actually, because he was already on site for an hour loading. And then they both loaded. And my original driver, I've used a lot. He's a really good lad. Scott, great lad. He went, they're not going to be open when I get there, are they? I was like, no. He went, I'll deliver in the morning. So I said, yeah, no worries. I'm going to have to tell this other driver the same thing. And so I phoned and said, because of all the delays and you've not kept me up to date and you kept giving me the wrong times, the customer's not going to be open when you get there. So he said, okay. So I said, it's going to need delivering tomorrow. So he said, okay. What time? So I said, 9 a.m. He went, okay, put the phone down. That was it. And then he phoned me back. And the phone call back is where it just started getting a bit straight. I was on the phone for about 20 minutes. And it was, you need to help me. If I can't deliver tonight, you need to help me. You need to get me somewhere to stay. You need to get me a hotel. I can't go home. You've ruined my job for tomorrow. You've ruined my job for tonight. I do runs every night. I'm assuming it's probably the every run or something. I've got some here if you want to come collect them. Anyway, I was like, there's not much I can do. I'm having to pay the other driver loads of waiting time anyway, which isn't his fault and it isn't my customer's fault. It was just a bad situation. So that's coming out of my pocket, really. You want me to pay for you to have a hotel or a night out or something and somewhere to stay, and then you want money? And I said no. I want your opinion on this. I want you to know. I want you to tell me whether I'm right or not. I said, if you would have said you were going to be 2.5 hours, I would have booked someone else. I would have found someone closer. If you'd have been honest with me when I phoned you, the office the first time, and he said 20 minutes, I would have found another driver. If he would have said 2 hours, I would have gone, no, going to be too long. It's going to cost me a fortune in waiting time, and then the customer's not going to be open. You need to get there ASAP. That's the job. It was ASAP. If you would have said, I'm going to be 2.5 hours, 2 hours, I would have said, I'll find somebody else. Sorry, but you said half an hour. And then when I phoned the second driver and he said he was half an hour away, if he would have gone, I'm an hour and a half away. I understand traffic changes and you get stuck and stuff, but there was no communication. Apart from the one bell missed call that I had to phone up constantly to chase them. They never phoned to give me any details. They never phoned to say they were running late. They knew how urgent it was because I told them on the phone before. And then start asking for help and money and somewhere to stay. I said, I've been doing this for 14, 15 years or something now. It's a long time. I've had this situation happen to me time and time again where things have got delayed and the customer's not going to be open. I've slept in a van or I've got a hotel or something just to make it work. Because if you're not, like, say he phoned me and he said, I've been stuck in loads of traffic, and he kept me up to date, and I was up to date, I'd be more inclined to look after him and make sure he was sorted if I couldn't find an old driver saying I still had to use him. But that's not the way it was. The way it was they didn't give me any communication. I kept having to chase them, and then they kept telling me wrong timings. And I know that you might say 20 minutes because it's 20 miles and you're on the motorway and you want to do 60 miles an hour. But you're also in London, so 20 miles is an hour and a half, 2 hours in some areas of London. And in the end, I just had to say, well, my phone was ringing and I just had to go off the phone. I said, I'm going to have to go. I'm busy. I'm trying to run a company. And you've been on the phone for 20, 25 minutes now, just telling me you need help and I need to put you up in a hotel. That's not really something I need to do. If you want to, I don't know. He said, I can't go home. I said, why can't you go home? He said, because I'm supposed to be doing a run tonight. I was like, you can't do a run tonight. Your van is literally full. And it just didn't seem to be getting through to him. So, is it my fault that he's lost his run for tonight? To me, their lack of communication was the issue. Their lack of communication led to me having to pay a lot of waiting time out to another driver. Yeah, he's a good lad and he deserves it. And he sat there and he waited and he handballed all the gear onto the other van. Cracking. No issue with him. But if they wouldn't have lied to me and told me the wrong times, etc., etc., we wouldn't have been in this situation. So then, should I keep paying them more and compensating them more and doing more for them when they can't give me the common courtesy just to phone me and say, we're running late? Leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think. Am I the arsehole? Should I have given them a load more money to get hotels, etc.? Or am I right for doing what I did and saying no? To be honest, I don't even know where all that decom is now. It's not even really decom, it's just rubbish. I don't know where it is. Hopefully it gets delivered back in the morning. I'll keep an eye on it later when I get back. So now you get to watch the second half, which I filmed yesterday. Enjoy!
Flashback.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the unit. I thought I'd just pop in, make sure everything was alright. Now, I made a video in March 2023 So over 2 years ago now. And it's my top video ever. Most viewed video. It's called the £1,000 Day. And I want to talk about what would be different now in 2025 than it was in 2023. Now, one of the biggest differences, I think is pretty obvious. I'm not driving anymore. So I wouldn't have been able to do that massive 711 mile run that paid me that £1,000 for the day. Actually, if we do go back to that video and watch it back, calling it a £1,000 day was probably a bit naughty, because I did it over 3 days, if you remember. On the Tuesday, I picked a bit of kit up on my way home. On the Wednesday, I did the majority of the run, and then I delivered it on the Thursday morning. Well, yeah, left me empty on the Thursday morning, and I was passing on the Tuesday anyway. So you could say it was 1 day, you could say it was 2, you could say it was 3. I called it 1 day because that's where I did the chunk of the driving. That's where I did all the driving, really. That's 700 plus miles. But what would be different now? Just to jog your memories, if you forgot or you never actually went and watched that video, it was collect Stockport on Tuesday on my way home, just some bits. Go down to Wellingborough first thing Wednesday morning, collect a couple of pallets, pick up another pallet from Stockport that got delivered in the morning, pick up in Glasgow later that afternoon, and then deliver in Inverness at 8 AM on Thursday morning. And I drove all the way to Inverness that Wednesday, stayed in a hotel Wednesday night, which cost £39, which is nothing. And I charged a grand total at the time of £1,063 plus VAT. So it roughly works out at £1.49 a mile. There was a lot of work, it was a lot of hard graft that day, and it was pretty exhausting. It was over 13 hours of driving, which, as we all know, we don't condone. The legal driving limit is 10 hours a day for a van driver. Needs must every now and then. But nowadays, what would I charge now? So back then, I was in a long wheelbase crafter. I'm going to say this, and you might not understand why. I was a bit new to pricing up jobs. Yes, like I said, like you all know, I've been in this industry for a long time. But the company I used to work for had the same rates for 10, 15 years. They haven't ever changed the prices, and that's why eventually they went under, because they ran out of money. They weren't charging the right amounts, plus a lot of other things. Let's not get into that one today. But I was going back and forth, mixing my rates about my direct customers back then. This was a direct customer job. This wasn't CX or anything like that. Nowadays, I would charge a little bit more. I'd actually charge around the £1,200 mark plus VAT. Then I'd probably charge an extra 40, 50 quid for the hotel on top of that as well. So you're looking at closer to £1,300 for that job nowadays. I believe my customer would still be happy paying that, like they were paying that amount 2.5 years ago, or 2.25 years ago, whatever it was. Back then, in that video, I also mentioned that if you're running on the CX, you'd have absolutely no chance of making that sort of money in a day, even if you did that sort of mileage. And I still wholeheartedly believe that. I know people that are still struggling to get £1.90 a mile for a long wheelbase. I don't pay drivers that, I pay them more. But I know people that are still struggling, especially with being on the courier exchange. And I know a lot of people over the last 2-3 years that have given up, that have just walked away because the rates aren't there anymore. They never really were, but it's just got considerably worse and worse over time. Not that I'm trying to put anybody off. You do what you want to do. It might help you grow your business. It might drive you into debt. Either way, it's on you. I'm not giving you advice whether to join or not. I'm just telling you my opinions. CX, no chance you would have made that sort of money back then. No chance you'd make that sort of money now, realistically. Unless you're getting paid off somebody who's a really good shipper, who knows you're a good driver, and is going to pay you the right amount of money. But don't happen often. I'm glad I don't bid on the CX anymore. I haven't bid on the CX in quite some time now. I think I did one job this year prior to the Luton breaking down in March. Yeah, March. It's been off the road for 3 months now. Still got plenty of time to be off the road as well. So, also in that video, 2 years ago, I warned how hard it is making a living just relying on the courier exchange. And I believe over the last 2 years, I have 100% been proven right. There's a massive turnaround of drivers that join and then give up straight away. You see it on social media all the time. Oh, I joined Courier Exchange. Does anyone want to buy my account off me? I've only been on it a month, 2 months. I can't make any money. I'm not making any money. I have people messaging me. Oh, I've been on the Courier Exchange for 6-7 weeks. I've only done 2 jobs. I'm not getting any winning any of these bids. I speak to them. I ask them what they're charging. They tell me, and I'm like, I don't understand why you're not winning the bids. And then if you look at how many loads there are actually per day compared to how many drivers and companies are on there, that's why no one's winning. You're either got to be the best of the best, have the best feedback, and a good company chooses your bad feedback, or you've got to be the cheapest of cheap, and you get chose because you're cheap. Either way, it's not a good situation to be in at the minute. If you don't have your own direct customers, your own direct work coming into you, trying to run solely on platforms, terrible idea, especially this year. It's been probably the worst year I've seen since I joined in 21. 100% the worst year I've seen. But yeah, like I said, there seems to be such a massive turnaround of people. The people that are joining, paying a month up front, a year up front, because that's how much you've got to pay. And then 2-3 months later, they're giving it up, selling their van, trying to find something else to do because they can't make any money out of it. Like I said, I'm not trying to put you off or anything like that. You do you. I have a friend actually that's phoned me only 2 days ago now to tell me, was it 2 days? Was it yesterday? Might have been yesterday. To tell me that he took a membership out after years of telling me that he didn't want to because of the cost of it. He's jumped and he's done it, but he has his own direct customers. He has work that needs subbing out, and he does drive himself, so it might get him them backloads. That's where it does come in handy. But my God, is it expensive now? He got 2 months free and a discount because there was an offer on at the time, and it was still more expensive than what I pay. Yes, he's gone in as a small company and all that because he is a company, but my God, it's about £300 more than I pay now. And then next year, without his offers and the 3 months and everything, it'll be about £900 more than what I pay now. And that is a lot of money. I pay £640 a quarter. Because after your first year, you can be monthly payments instead of yearly payments. So it makes it a little bit easier. It's still expensive. But I've done the maths before, and I've told you all the maths before. It's about £4, £4.50 per job that I sub out, depending on if I sub out the same amount of jobs year on year, which I tend to do. This year is going to be a little bit busier, so that cost will actually decrease because I've subbed out more jobs. Not that I'm actually putting them on there to sub them out. I just use the platform to send them to the drivers, so I've got the POD and the tracking and everything there in front of me instead of having my own. Speak of the devil, he's actually just messaged me through the CX. I'll have a look at that in a minute. I think over the last 2 years, my prices towards customers and stuff have increased. Obviously, I've mentioned that before. I've had to put my prices up just to keep up with inflation, the cost of living, and the cost of actually giving drivers a decent wage, especially whilst I've been off the road. I used to make all my money by doing the jobs myself. As I've mentioned before, I used to make tiny little profits off actually subbing the jobs out. I mentioned in that video 2 years ago that I had 3 vans out that day and I'd only made 50 quid off them 3 vans. That isn't sustainable. You can't run a company like that. You need to be making bigger profits than that, especially on distance jobs. So now I'm making a living without even being on the road. But when that van is back, that van is going back on the road, I won't be driving it. I'm going to have to find somebody to go in there. I'm going to have to find a driver because I don't have time anymore. Unless we go really quiet all of a sudden and I've got to start making all the money myself, I need to find a self-employed driver to put in my van, insure on that van. I'll pay them either a day rate or a wage or something, depending on what they do or how many hours they work or whatever. But that van, it needs to be running. Obviously, I'm spending a bloody fortune on it, but I won't be in it. That is what I believe at the minute anyway. I do have to get wifey on board, but she tends to disagree with me and then let me make my own mistakes. Don't you, love? Things would be different, obviously, than 2 years ago. I probably would have stayed in Glasgow and not done them extra few hours to Inverness. Stayed in Glasgow, done them in the morning, just to make myself stay in that 10-hour driving gap. I might have done things differently. I potentially would have subbed it out and see how much I could get it subbed out for and see what sort of profit I can make on top of it. Especially now, if I tried doing that job in the Luton, it'd actually be a lot more expensive than that because the running costs on the Luton are nearly double what they were on the long wheelbase. They are extortionate to run them sort of vans, especially on fuel. That job, I don't know if I mentioned it in the video, but I got like 48, 49 mpg for the entire run up to Inverness for that 711 miles. I did the majority of that mileage on one tank of diesel in the long wheelbase. That would have been 2 tanks of diesel getting there alone in the Luton. It is expensive to run. Potentially when it comes back with its rebuilt engine and new turbo and everything, it might be more economical, but I seriously doubt it. And to somebody who sent me a message the other day saying, wouldn't it be cheaper to do this? That sent me a VW Crafter running, driving chassis and put my Luton box on the back. Yes, it would have saved me thousands of pounds. Why didn't I think of that? Why didn't anyone say that sooner before I actually started ripping the van apart? My van is currently sat there. It's got no front end at all. I saw it a couple of weeks ago. It's got no bonnet, no bumper, no wings, nothing. The front end is completely bare. They've took everything out the front. It looks mental. But yeah, things would be different. Charges would be higher. I probably would have done it a bit differently. You know how you do it. If you had a customer phone you now and say, I've got a run for you tomorrow. It's 711 miles. Needs all picking up tomorrow and delivering the day after. How would you do it? Would you do the majority of the run like I did? Get up there, be a few miles away, ready for the drop and stay in the hotel, but do too much driving potentially? Or would you do the majority of the run but stay a bit further away? So you're only doing that 10 hours driving, get a hotel and do a couple of hours driving the next morning. So obviously then you're still potentially going to be driving home while driving somewhere else. Also, what would you charge? If I phoned you now and said, I've got this 711 mile run, you're going to start in Manchester, go down south, then go up north, what would you charge me? Let me know in the comments down below and we'll talk about it. Thank you all for watching. Yes, I am rambling on now. Please like, subscribe, I'll catch you on the next one. Bye bye. And I can't help myself. Ooh, ooh. Yes, we are. Hey, hey, ha. But it's somewhere different.